Let me ask you something. Would you pay 1.1 million for a house that already didn't sell at 949,000? Because that's exactly what happened with this home right here in Scottsdale's 85254 zip code, one of the most in-demand areas of the valley. And it's not just the price. The way this home has been positioned is a case study in what not to do when it comes to selling real estate in 2025. This property on paper has a lot going for it. Over 2,200 square feet, four bedrooms, two baths, an updated kitchen, new windows, a pool, and it's located in one of the most desirable parts of town. But here's the thing. This home has a pricing history that tells a much bigger story than what you see on the surface. Let's walk through it. Back in October of 2023, this property hit the market at 1,080,000, and that's 477 per square foot. It didn't sell. A few months later, in January, the price was dropped. Then again in April 2024, it was lowered further to 949,000 before ultimately being removed in February 2025. Now, here's where things get weird. Instead of adjusting to the market, the home was relisted in March 2025 at 1.1 million, which is actually higher than the original price from nearly a year prior. And after just a couple weeks with no takers, the price was dropped to an even 1 million as of April 1st. To a buyer scrolling Zillow or Redfin, this looks chaotic. They're seeing a house that's been on and off the market for over a year with three different price points and no clear reason for the increase. And when you factor in that the homes last sold in 1993 for just 35,000, yes, 35 grand, it creates emotional disconnect. Now, obviously, no one expects 1993 pricing in Scottsdale anymore. That's not realistic. But buyers are watching these price changes. They're watching homes sit, and psychologically, when they see a price history like this, especially one where the price increases after failing to settle at a lower number, it triggers doubt. They wonder what's wrong with the property. They assume the seller isn't serious, and that doubt can be the difference between scheduling or showing or scrolling past. Now, to be fair, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe the sellers made improvements, maybe a new agent took over and had a different strategy, but from a market perspective, this move doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially in a year where buyers are already hypersensitive to price, rates are still hovering around 7%, and inventory is growing. Personally, I would never advise relisting at a higher price without a major justification. And truthfully, if a seller told me they insist on doing that, I probably wouldn't take the listing because I'm not in the business of putting up signs. I'm in the business of getting homes sold. Now let's talk about what buyers see when they come across this home online because first impressions matter. The listing photos are sharp. They're clearly taken by a professional photographer. Good lighting, good angles, but honestly, the home just comes across kind of cold. The white walls, the tile floors, the minimal decor, it all just reads sterile. And sterile doesn't sell, emotion sells, especially at the $1 million price point. Buyers aren't just buying walls and square footage, they're buying a feeling. They want to see themselves living there, hosting dinner parties, raising their potential kids, chilling by the pool on a 110-degree July day. And when a home looks like a showroom with no soul, it creates zero emotional connection. This is where staging comes in. Not every home needs a full furniture overhaul, but this one is begging for some warmth. A textured rug, some art, a plant or two, soft lighting, heck, even just a cozy throw blanket would go a long way. Right now, it feels more like a flipped Airbnb than a forever home, and even digital staging could carry this a long way. And here's the thing, this property isn't even bad. In fact, it's got good bones, the kitchen has been updated, the lot has a decent size, the layout works, but the way it's being presented makes it harder to love, especially when there are other homes in the area with more warmth and better price positioning. Let's go back to pricing for a second because that's the elephant in the room. Right now, the home is listed at $1 million after that price reduction from 1.1 million. And that's still over 440 per square foot, which puts it right at the upper end of comps for this part of the area, especially for a home that doesn't have custom finishes or designer touches. At this price point, buyers expect something special, a wow factor, and if they don't see it in the finishes, it needs to be in the staging or the story behind the home. Instead, what we have here is a house that's been on the market for a long time with price reductions that frankly still isn't where it needs to be. And that sends a message to buyers. It tells them that the seller may not be motivated, it tells them the home might be overpriced, it invites low offers or no offers at all. So, if I was the listing agent, what would I do differently? First, I'd start with a realistic market analysis, not just pricing it to match seller expectations, but pricing it to meet buyer demand. I'd look at days on market for nearby homes, list to sale price ratios, what upgrades those homes had, and where this one fits into the mix. Next, I'd restage and reshoot. And if that means digitally upgrading the property, that's okay if the seller's not willing to work with me. But we're going to add some warmth, add some story, and create that emotional connection so people scroll through the photos actually feel something. Right now, it's just not there. Then I'd craft a real marketing plan, not just a Zillow post in a lockbox. I'm talking strategic social media campaigns, agent to agent marketing, maybe even a twilight shoot or an agent open house if the seller's on board. And most importantly, I'd make sure the seller is aligned with the reality of the market. That might mean hard conversations, but those conversations are the reason why my listings sell and others sit. At the end of the day, homes don't sell themselves, especially not in 2025. You need the right price, the right presentation, and the right plan. And this home, it's proof that even good properties can sit when one or more of those pieces are missing. If you're a seller and you're watching this and you're thinking, why isn't my home selling? This is your sign to take a step back and reassess. And if you want a second opinion, I'm happy to give you one. No pressure, no BS, just straight advice on what I know works. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, drop a like, leave a comment, and hit subscribe. I've got more breakdowns and behind the scenes real estate insights coming your way.